Hey everybody, welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah, it's great to be back.
You know how much we love to dig into cool science stuff, right?
Right.
Well, this time, we're going to explore something that might surprise you.
Oh, do tell.
We're diving into the world of
Banks.
banks. I know, it might not sound as thrilling as like exploring the Amazon rainforest or dissecting a frog, but trust me on this one.
Okay, I'm listening. What makes banks so fascinating?
Well, even scientists need money to do their awesome research, right?
That's true. Labs, equipment, those high-tech gadgets, it all costs money.
Exactly. You can't exactly study distant galaxies with a cardboard telescope, can you?
Nope, you can't. So where do these scientists get the funding for their amazing projects?
That's where banks come in. They're not just these big buildings with vaults full of cash.
Right.
They're kind of like the financial backbone of the whole world.
Absolutely. They play a crucial role in connecting people who have money with those who need it.
It's like a big puzzle where all the pieces have to fit together for the economy to work, and it helps fund things like groundbreaking scientific research.
Exactly. It's a fascinating system.
Definitely. But I gotta ask, banks haven't always existed, right? So how did this whole idea even come about?
Well, the concept of banking is actually pretty old, almost as old as money itself.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, even ancient civilizations like the Babylonians and the Romans, they had systems for lending and storing valuable.
Oh, well. Like ancient banks?
Kinda. But the modern banking system as we know it today really started to take shape in Europe during the Renaissance.
Oh, the Renaissance. That's the time of Da Vinci, Michelangelo, and banks.
Haha, yeah. It might seem like an odd mix, but it makes sense when you think about what was happening during that period.
Oh, okay. Tell me more.
Well, during the Renaissance, trade was booming, and these merchants needed safe places to store their gold. And they also needed ways to send payments over long distances.
Yeah, that makes sense. Imagine having to pay for spices all the way from India with heavy bags of gold.
Exactly. So that's where the goldsmiths came in.
Goldsmiths.
Yeah. They had these super secure vaults for storing gold, right? And they started issuing receipts to merchants as proof of their deposits.
Ah, okay. So basically, these receipts were like ancient IOUs for gold.
Precisely. And it turned out trading these receipts was a lot easier than lugging around all that heavy gold.
I bet. So those little pieces of paper basically became the first forms of paper money.
Exactly. Pretty cool, huh? And as time went on, these systems just kept evolving, and eventually they led to the banks that we know today.
Whoa. Okay, I'm beginning to see how it all fits together. But what exactly do banks do besides just keeping our money safe?
Great question. Let's dive into that.
Okay.
First off, they offer all sorts of accounts where you can stash your cash and even earn interest on it.
Oh. So it's like having a supersized piggy bank that actually pays you for saving.
Yep. But here's the really interesting part. Banks don't just sit on all that money.
They don't.
Nope. They use a good chunk of it to provide loans to individuals and businesses.
Like those scientists we were talking about who need funding for their research.
Exactly.
Ah, so it's this big cycle. People save their money, banks use that money to give out loans, and that helps scientists invent cool stuff or businesses grow.
Precisely. And these loans can be for all sorts of things, like buying a house, starting a business, or even just covering an unexpected expense.
Wait, so when my parents talk about mortgage payments, they're actually talking about a special kind of loan from a bank to buy our house, right?
Bingo. It's a big loan that lets people buy houses even if they can't afford to pay the whole price up front.
And they pay it back bit by bit over a long time.
Exactly. It's how banks help people achieve the dream of homeownership.
That's awesome. But what about interest? My parents always say that's the extra money you have to pay back when you borrow from a bank.
You're right. Interest is how banks make money from lending. It's kind of like a fee for using their money. But banks do way more than just loans.
Oh, like,
Well, they also play a huge role in helping us make payments, like when you buy something online or swipe your debit card at the store.
oh yeah. It's so easy to just click pay now. I never really thought about how it all works.
Right. Well, that seamless experience is possible because of this intricate network of banks and financial institutions that are connected all over the world.
This is all super interesting. But if banks are lending out so much money, how do they make sure they don't run out? What if everyone suddenly wanted to withdraw their money all at the same time?
That's a great question. And it gets to the heart of how banks manage risk and try to stay stable.
Okay, so how do they do that?
Well, first of all, they don't actually lend out all the money that's deposited.
Oh, they don't.
Nope. They're required to keep a certain percentage of it on hand in something called a reserve. You can think of it like a safety net.
Right. So it's there just in case a lot of people decide they need their money back at the same time.
Exactly. It helps prevent a bank run, which is when everyone panics and tries to withdraw their money all at once.
That makes sense.
Plus, banks don't just hand out loans to anyone who asks. They've got these systems in place to check if someone's likely to pay back the money.
So, like if I asked for a loan to buy a rocket ship, they'd probably say no.
Probably. They look at things like your credit history, how much money you make, and how much debt you already have.
It's like when I lend my friend a video game. I want to make sure they'll give it back in one piece.
Exactly. It all comes down to trust. That's the foundation of the entire financial system.
Wow. This deep dive has been a real eye-opener. I always thought banks were kind of boring, but they're actually pretty important, huh?
They are. They're like the unsung heroes of the financial world, working behind the scenes to keep everything running smoothly.
And they help make scientific discoveries possible.
Exactly. Who knows, maybe one day you'll be using a bank loan to fund your own research.
Maybe even start a bank just for scientists. That's something to think about. Well, that's all the time we have for today.
But keep those brains buzzing.
And keep exploring the amazing world of finance, because who knows what other fascinating discoveries you might find.
Absolutely.
We'll see you next time for another deep dive.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.